Yeah, I was enjoying that tune.
Me too. Not bad.
How you doing, Devin?
I'm great, Raj. Good to see you. How are you?
Good seeing you, man. I'm doing good, man. I got some new records in the mail.
Ooh, nice.
And that's always good, right? Like, I've been ordering records. You know, what else do you do when you're at home but waste money online ordering?
It's not a
records?
Waste.
It's not a waste.
If you're buying, especially, is it reggae records?
Oh, all reggae.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Garth Brooks record, but we're not going to talk about that.
Hey, stop picking on Garth Brooks. That was uncalled for.
I just wish that, like, mailmen or mailwomen were record collectors themselves, because then they would appreciate, you know, how to take care of a record, and they would appreciate the media that comes within that package, because sometimes, you know, we get lucky. I see a package and I'm like, oh, man. Wait till I open this up. And, it, you know, most of the time I've been lucky. It's like records in good condition, so I'm glad about that. But
well, I know what you mean, because I've been ordering records too, and we have a very small mailbox, so they leave it like on top, and so I got to make sure I get to it quick.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Because, it's a whole other game for you.
Yeah, no, I gotta. You never know what day it's coming, and then I gotta make sure it's not sitting there too long.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll get hot. It'll melt.
All right. Well, speaking of records that I've had for a very long time. Well, look, before we even go there, let's just say we have a very special show today, because our guest that will be joining us live in just a few minutes is the one and only Sister Carol.
Yes. Mother Culture herself.
Yeah, just beyond excited, because I mean, you all know her repertoire and her resume and her music, and she needs no introduction. And it's kind of a dream come true for us to have Sister Carol on the show. So let's, but before we bring her on, we always like to do our record of the week segment. And this week it is my turn to go first. Yeah. And my tune this week is an old roots tune from 1975 or 1976 by Jackie Brown, and it's called Wiser Dread. And I have a question for you, Roger, on this tune, so maybe you can answer me on the flip side. Okay. At the top, you'll hear what instrument I'm talking about. There's some kind of sound. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think long ago, our good friend Tom Cook told me it was some kind of organ patch, but it doesn't sound like your typical organ. So you'll hear it right at the top in this intro, and then when we come back, please tell me what that was. Okay. All right, here we go. Jackie Brown, Wiser Dread.
Who is it?
I art the wise dread.
What do you want?
I hear said the emperor dead, and I've come to find out.
He isn't here. He is very much alive on earth.
So far, but the wicked won't let him prosper. Oh, no one ever tell I Selassie sick. Tell the wicked fi move ya with that trick. Conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, root of David shall rule forever. I Selassie never born to suffer. I Selassie will not feel no pain. I Selassie never come here to suffer, but the wicked won't let him prosper. All the try them a try. All the wicked want Ethiopia. Tell the soldier fi move out a diaper, 'cause the wicked will
Yes.
I heard it.
Yeah. Do you know what it was? What was it?
I definitely know what it was.
What was it?
And Tom's right. It's a lot of these old school organs, they have like a repeat function. So if you hold down a key, it's just gonna go, and there's a repeat speed to come with the dials, you know. So you hold down a key and it'll be like like whatever the key, whatever the speed is, you know, it'll just repeat it. So that's what it sounds like to me. Obviously, there's an organ in the tune, you know, doing its thing.
he never comes back to that sound.
I think the
it's
producer
dope.
was in the other room going like, nope, no more of that. That was your chance, but nah. We auditioned, it didn't work.
So well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So that was Wiser Dread by Jackie Brown. That's cool that you have, that was originally released as a Cash 7-inch single, and you've got the graphic up there. And
Yeah,
it's
man.
1975 or 1976. But I've always had it on this compilation, Wiser Dread, which was released in 1981 on the Nighthawk label. And it's a really, sought after collector's record. And it's one of my it's just such a killer comp. Every song is good. It's got a few Jackie Brown songs, songs by an artist named Sam Hugh, some Itals tunes, some Bunny Wailer tunes, and that one's always been my favorite. That's the title track. I love everything about that song. Jackie Brown has such a nice voice, and it's just like, the intro, the guy knocking at the door.
Wicked.
And he's like, it's like he's knocking at the door of, I don't know where the guy's like, what do you want? He's like, I'm the Wiser Dread. I heard Selassie's dead, and I came to find out. And the guy's like, no, he's not here. He's very much alive on Earth. And then the tune starts. So it's just a heavy intro.
Oh yeah.
And then it's heavy. So it's on this comp, Wiser Dread, and you can see the picture. That's Jackie Brown right there.
Nice.
That's Bunny Wailer, obviously. Let's see. Oh, that's Bunny Wailer, but that is Jackie Brown.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of hard to do. But he's got a few tunes on here, but that's my fave. And it's cool because you can see all the liner notes on here, right? And so it tells you a bit about the artist. And it says, and Jackie Brown came from the Portland Parish in Jamaica. He was born in 1946. His family was musical, and it even talks about like his influences. It's cool because you don't really like often get this kind of information about a high school artist from an album,
Yeah.
And like he came to Kingston at age 15. And he listened to Justin Hines and Toots and the Wailers. Wow. He said he loved Desmond Decker. He used to like run into Desmond Decker all the time at Beverly's record shop.
Wow.
He mentions Jackie Edwards, Owen Gray. So it's just cool to like have this kind of info. And he had some. He started the Telegraph label. You might have seen that. And he put out some other tunes just in this same vein. Like there's a song called Sheep and Goat, Nazi Vision. All that kind of same style, like right around the same time too, 75, 76, that, super rootsy stuff.
Yeah.
And and also that the stuff he released on, so I think that one was the first Cash label he did, and then the Telegraph stuff was his next stuff.
Nice.
It was one of my faves. What do you got for us this week, Raj?
This week we're gonna play a tune by Mr. Leo Graham. The tune is called Hard Times, and we'll get into it after we hear it. But check out the lyrics in the song; it's super relatable right now. What's cracking with the world, and scope it out. Hit it,
Leo Graham.
Why poor shall be poorer. I said the rich shall be richer and the poor shall be poorer.
How dope is Leo Graham? I know you and me
So
talked
good.
about him many times, and I don't know. I still think he's very underrated. You know, when you talk about artists in Jamaica, and obviously a lot of it probably has to do with the amount of material he's put out. But I mean, if people don't know his name, his individual, you know, his name, maybe they know the Bleachers. You know, he sang for the Bleachers, the Overtakers as well. So yeah, he didn't put out a whole bunch of music, but
Some of those Overtakers songs.
insane.
That's like that's Rocksteady era.
Everyone out there, I encourage you, if you like Rocksteady, go on YouTube and look up Risk You a Run.
Risk You a Run. Also, Beware the Dopey Escape from Jail. That one. Beware.
Yeah, and they don't have a bunch, right? The Overtakers
No.
don't have, but
No,
it's
they got a
like
handful.
gold. It's just like the Bleachers. There's not a
Right.
bunch, but everything. Actually, I'll say 100% of their songs that I've heard under the Bleachers is gold. 1969 type reggae, straight ahead. Just a lot of Lee Perry stuff on the Upsetter label.
Yeah.
But yeah, this song in particular, I mean, it's just heavy. I love when he's singing, and then he always does this, but there's like this little ad lib attitude that goes on between his lyrics. So he'll get down with his lyrics and be like, huh? Like just little, like, like, yeah, like just little, just,
Yeah. Hey.
it's dope. It's like these little drops of confidence as he's in the booth, you know, singing,
Yeah.
and it adds to it because his voice is so unique. Leo Graham is very, very dope. And I'm actually going to be doing a, I have to finish it, but I mean, I'm going to do like a Leo Graham DJ set and record it live, and it'll be everything
nice.
will be relevant to Leo Graham. So we'll be playing all those tunes, a bunch of Bleacher stuff, a bunch of his solo stuff, a lot of his stuff that people have heard. But in me searching out some of these tunes, there's tunes I haven't heard, you know. I didn't hear Hard Times until
I never heard this one until you just played it. I
You
thought I
see?
knew most of the Leo Graham stuff. Do you know what year that was?
oh man.
Because
Oh,
it sounded like it was really, really well recorded for the, you know, it didn't.
Well,
like
you
the
know,
style
it-
sounded
it-
like a mid 70s.
I
but
think, you know, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I think it was like late 70s, like 77, 78. And
maybe even later than that.
I want to say 78 because when I was looking, I don't know what I was looking at, but I think that year pops out, 78, because it's Joe Gibbs and the Professionals, right? And they have a very distinct sound. And just the band alone, if you listen to that song again, you'll notice there, I don't know, maybe a minute something in, everybody's talking to each other, but perfectly, not planned. Literally seconds after each other, the organ does something, the piano does something, and then the guitar does something.
Nice.
It's like so dope. It's just a testament to how tight, you know, the Professionals were. And I love State of Emergency album is dope. I mean, that's a great
the
album.
Joe Gibbs house band, right? The Professionals?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And check this out. In doing some research on Leo Graham, he has a son that also does reggae. His son's name is Dawe Congo.
who I've absolutely heard of. I know his stuff. I didn't know he was Leo Graham's son, though.
Straight up.
Wow.
Came from Leo Graham.
Is Leo Graham still with us? I don't know.
I think he is. As a matter of fact, I think there's also a video on YouTube of him doing a dub plate of a Win Them.
Nice.
I think I sent that to you. I don't know if it's a dope video or not, because it's kind of like, you know. But yeah, man, big fans of Leo Graham here on the show. But without further ado, we have a very special guest with us today, and we've been trying to get her on the show for a while now, because we dig everything she's put out. And without further ado, we got the Black Cinderella, Mother Culture herself. Make some noise.
Grammy nominated.
Make some noise for Miss Sister Carol.
Yes.
How you doing?
Blessed love and greetings.
Yeah.
Greetings, everyone.
Thank you so much for being. Thank you so much for being on with us.
Yeah, man, I'm delighted to be here as well.
Yeah. Tell the people where you're tuning in from.
I'm tuning in from St. Mary, Jamaica, and our district here is called Fellowship Hall.
Nice. Very
Beautiful.
cool. We were
Fellowship
talking.
Hall/Ramble.
Nice. We were talking during sound check and mentioning that you by far have one of the coolest backdrops. Probably takes the award #1 so far.
I must say thanks to my team, you know.
Yeah. Great
They set it
team.
up, yeah.
Great team indeed.
That's great.
Yeah. I have to jump in. I mean, so a lot of these questions I've been wanting to ask myself, you know, and obviously our listeners are curious as well. But your father, I want to start out with early, I want to start off kind of how you were influenced by immediately when you were young, and your father was an engineer, right, at Radio Jamaica.
Yeah.
So did that have a big influence on you, like really getting into music, or was that going to happen anyways, regardless of that?
No, I feel like the music was born within. It was already there. From I come on to the scene, I should say from I disembarked, rather, in Kingston, the music was already inside of me. You know, because all of us, our structures were built in music, you know, in the chord of C, I once read somewhere. So music is in all of us. But it takes some time, or I guess, you know, different ways and journeys to bring it out. So I'd say, yeah, my dad is an engineer, but I don't really think that that connection came like that, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was definitely curious about that, you know. Like,
but what he did do is when I was about 12 years old, he gave me an album with Big Youth called Screaming Target. Nice. And I used to play that record all the time until I learned all the words. So I used to sing it for my friends, and I would collect money from them because they told me I sound good, you know. So I used to do this a lot at school, and I remember my father not only was an engineer at the radio station, but he also did electrical and technical work at the different studios like Treasure Eyes, Studio One, even Bob Marley's studio. Wow. And I remember once visiting Bob Marley's studio, and Bob asked him to come do some work at the studio at 5604. Wow. So yeah, and play a part of connecting the dots, but not really, like, I would say, you know, but the music come from the most time.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you would play you would make some money DJing that Big Youth tune at school, you said?
Yeah. The whole album. The entire album.
So you would just like would you have to bring your record player to the school, or
no. You have the record player to bring on. You just learn the words, like, oh, you download something now from the computer. I was listening and downloaded it into my system.
Oh, so you were just rocking it. You were just doing it.
Yeah, I just start singing for my friend then, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Wow.
like that.
I see. Oh,
So
wow.
honesty has got to be the best of policies, I would say.
Yeah.
The more they give, the more you receive, as I would tell you. And they say that again. And I say, you got to pay for that. You know, so
Yes.
big up to Manly Buchanan, you know.
Did you
Big
ever?
youth.
Did you ever? Like the first when you met Big Youth, did you tell him that story? Did you?
Yeah, I tell him. I tell him. I tell it to you.
He said, "You want me some money?" It sounds.
He wants his commissions, right?
No.
That's good.
I'm
That's awesome.
just show all for love, you know. I'm more
Yeah.
proud of I and I because we're from the same community in Western Kingston. I grew up in Western Kingston, a place called Denham Town, which is what we call the reggae arena, is the epicenter of where the music really came from. Because people came from all over Jamaica. Artists born anywhere in a Jamaica in the parish, they have to come to Kingston before they get people, you know, people get to know them. So right there in Denham Town, Trenchtown, Jonestown was the place where most of the things were happening. There was Duke Reed Studio. There was also Federal, somewhere down Marcus Garvey Road there too.
Wow.
There was a big dance hall that everybody came to on Wellington Street called Chakamola. So, you know, the music was everywhere, on the jukebox, on the radio, on the sound system. So, you know, it was just so much that sometimes it drowned out the poverty. We never remember, so we were poor.
At that point, I don't know exactly what year we're talking about, but at that point, was it like, because for me, the original DJs, you have people like, you know, Sir Lord Comic, King Stitt. I'm missing someone.
Well,
I'm missing
I
someone.
used to live.
Count Machuki.
Count Machuki, I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of.
Count Machuki was a little bit before my time.
Right. That was
But
little-
I used to live at this place they call Salt City in Western Kingston, Dedham Town. And the man next door had a sound system called Sir Percy's Welterweight. And that sound system now was played by King Stitch and Uri. So that was even before Big Youth time, and I was listening to them at that time.
Right.
Not even thinking of doing what they're doing. But at the same time, it was just being downloaded as well. So, you know, the teachings and the learnings and the inspiration has been coming from a while back.
Right.
From King Stitch to Uri to Big Youth. And then when we finally meet Brigadier Jerry now, we really get the way call like spiritual and encouragement to just say, boy, you know, something about hold the mic and DJ.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I want to ask you a little bit more about those early days seeing King Stitt and Uroy, because, you know, to us, when we just read about those days, and it just seems like such a magical time, and beyond just the vibes that it must have been. You know, we read about how, you know, when Uroy and King Stitt and they started, how just the style, what they were doing vocally was so new. No one had ever done that kind of thing before, toasting. And so for you as somebody who was there witnessing that, was it really that way? Like, was it when you heard Uroy or that kind of toasting style for the first time, did it really come across as like, whoa, this is something brand new?
Well, the first person I really heard doing it was King Stitch.
Right.
And the sound system next to Sir Percy's Welterweight. But then again, at that time, there was such a hunger and a crave for the music that anything was playing at that time, and the vibes and the energy, you know, you couldn't help but just wanting to hear more of it,
Right.
you know. And then when Uri came on the scene now, like I knew him before he started to record in songs like Wear You to the Ball and like Chicka Bow and those songs.
Yeah.
But when he came, Wake the Town and Tell the People, when he came on the scene, it was like, yo, the hottest thing since sliced bread. And he was just the man of the hour, and everybody just loved the vibes. And, you know, give God thanks, he's still around with us here today, still doing his thing.
Definitely.
Yes, Godfather, you're right. Yeah.
He's He has such a unique style that obviously everybody else was influenced by, and kind of, obvious Iroy, and then, you had Jazzbo and stuff like that. You mentioned Brigadier. Briggy, what made Brigadier different? Because I know he played a special part in your life, but what did you see as like Brigadier
Well,
Jerry?
just before I get to Brigadier, I want to point out that I used to live on Bond Street, 30 Bond Street, just opposite Treasure Isle Studio.
Right.
So I'm living in front of the studio and I'm seeing all these artists like every day, and just hearing the music and just looking at Brother Duke Reed at that time, a very serious man with 10 rings on his finger and a long gun across his back and one at his side. So it's just somebody that you don't play with.
Yeah.
But seeing the artists every day, I was like about 5-6 years old. I used to tell myself that one day I'm gonna be over there with those artists. I mean, every artist you can think of was just there on the corner. It was like a spot. Yeah. So now Brigadier Jerry now, I met Brigadier Jerry through a dear friend of mine, Sister Melanie. Rest in peace, sister. Around 1980 when he came to America with Bob Marley. When Bob Marley came to do the show at Madison Square Garden. That's when we met Brigadier Jerry. And I used to hear him in the dance before, but I've never met him before. So when I really get to meet him through this friend of mine, it was really a very special vibes. And like I said, it's like he came to spend a weekend with us. And by the time the weekend was over, I was just on the mic singing and toasting everything that Brigadier was singing. It's like the spiritual energy was just magical and different. And I really gravitated to that more than anything else that was happening at the time. So, respect again, General.
The General Briggy.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, he has a little sister, correct?
Yeah, Mama Nancy.
Yeah.
That's it's funny. I mean, in modern music, there's a lot of competition, and the competition's good, but there's a lot of ego that comes with it, with artists, and whether it's hip hop or any genre. But it's so beautiful. This is definitely not the case when it comes to your relationship with Sister Nancy. Is it true? Rub It Up Sisters is what they.
When we tour in Europe, that's what they call us, the Rub It Up Sisters.
Nice.
And indeed we are, because you have a lot of female DJs that's been around from a time, but not many of them know how to just write just about any rhythm, like Robot Dub dancehall style. And I must say hats off to her. She's one of those who can really angle it that way. Like should I say the roughneck mama, Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how so many, and definitely we feel about you. And
Yes.
so I wanted to ask about, so when you were 14, you left Jamaica and went to New York, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I have two questions about that, really. One is, just in general, what that must have been like, because 14 years old, it's a unique time in anybody's life to kind of leave home and go to a new place.
Well, that wasn't any decision of ours, it's just the parents said it's time for us to, my mom was already in America, and she wanted us to join her in America.
Right.
But at that time in Jamaica, there was like quite a strong political type of violence was going on, and they wanted to get us out of here for that. And they also thought at that time we were thinking too revolutionary, and we were like heading towards Rasta too much. So try to get them out of here to change their mind from that, So yeah, I left Jamaica at age 14 and went to New York City. Went to school, just like everybody else. But it was quite a big culture shock.
Right.
Nothing like what I was expected or was looking for or saw on TV or whatever. It's like, what? But we had no choice. We had to just deal with it, and after time, we start to grow from strength to strength. We move on to college, we start family, in between that we're doing, pursuing an education at the time to become a school teacher. I do have a Bachelor of Science degree in education.
Right.
Wow.
And after getting that degree, my career just like literally exploded globally. So I never got the chance to really sit down and teach in the
And use
classroom.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm more or less make the world be the classroom and I'm teaching. Every song of mine is like a lesson plan, and hopefully we can make a difference in people's life, something positive.
That's that makes so much sense. I mean, I never articulated that to myself because we knew you had that degree in education. But now that you say that, it's like, yeah, your songs are absolutely that, just little lesson plans. So mission accomplished. If that's what the mission was, accomplished. And, so you went to New York at 14, and like you mentioned, it was a culture shock. And so having come from not just, the island of Jamaica where so much music was going on, but like you mentioned earlier, like literally living on Bond Street across the street from Treasure Isle and being next to the sound system, you must have just having music of a high caliber, reggae music and rocksteady music all around you must have just seemed like a natural way of life. And so when you moved to New York, were you able to? I'm not sure what any reggae scene was like in New York at that time, but were you able to find some kind of reggae music happening, or I don't know if there were sound systems going on in New York at that time, but
I was so deep into the music.
Yeah.
Since as far as I can remember, probably 5-6 years old, music was everything for me. So when I started to enter little competitions and would dance and I would get like first prize and I get some money, I would always save my money and I would buy records like from Beverly's, Prince Buster, or down a Bob Marley shop down a Beeson Street, or down a Derek Ariat. I mean, anywhere along Orange Street, all these record shops were there. And I used to save my money to buy those records. At that time, the currency was still pound, shilling, and pence. So a lot of my records are stamped 7 and 6, that which cost 7 shillings and 6 pence. So I brought those records with me.
Nice.
Wow.
To New York. And that is what really comforted me and literally healed me and literally keep my mind stable, because it was just like not the place to be at the time. So music was definitely like my babysitter then. Right. That literally took care of it while everything else was just not feeling right. Albums like Baba and the Songbook, I would play that like for days and days and days. Alton Ellis, all the artists from back then. I'm passionate about oldies music.
Us too.
Oldies from Jamaica. And I'm a real Studio One baby.
Nice.
I'm a Studio One lover.
Yes.
So, and my dad used to work with Mr. Dad. My father worked with Mr. Dad as well. So like when I would visit Jamaica early, like late 70s, I would go to the studio with my father, and Mr. Dad would say, "Oh, you brought your daughter from America. She loves music, you see?" And then he would say something like, "Just take anything you want." And I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
Did he just say take anything that I want? So I would have suitcases, 45 LP,
wow,
10-inch that I take back to America.
That's
with
amazing.
me, and so I have a very large collection of music.
Do you still own those records?
I still do.
Oh wow. That's
I
awesome.
still do.
Do you ever get a chance to like I mean, you know, obviously you're a DJ and you're on the mic, but do you ever get a chance to just go spin records somewhere?
All right, like I tell you, I've been playing records since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
So it's one of my favorite pastimes, just to select music and to play for people. I know how to make people feel happy by selecting for them. So I used to select at a couple parties, like I'd say early 70s. But then some of the brethren would be like, no, you're not supposed to be so good for a woman. I'm like, what?
Better learn.
So, you know, my husband and I even had a sound system when we just got started in Brooklyn to call Eastman International, and a lot of artists used to come to our house and practice, and our place was like the hangout spot where everybody come to, you know, sharpen them craft. So that was like in the 80s. But about 3 years ago, I went to Europe and had an experience with a sound system vibe over there, where I see how our little sound system culture exploded into something big in Europe. And I saw the people standing in front of the speaker box as if they were like patients waiting for the doctors and the nurses to come just to heal them. And when the music turned on, they would just jump in the air, and I'm like, what? It was such an experience that I decided that I would start playing my records again.
Nice.
And then I set up a little sound system that I'd start playing again, and it's called Cinder Block.
Nice.
The all-seeing eye power, not power in frequency, but the all-seeing eye, like the eye of Horus, the eye of Eru, the all-seeing eye power. So we play music to heal the mind, the body, and the soul.
That's a heavy name.
Cinder Block, you know?
Cinder Block, wow.
Yeah, we like a lot of dub plates, and we specialize in roots music, and too much of my sisters are complaining to me that they're not hearing what they want to hear when they go to parties and dance. So we play what they want to hear because it is healing. People don't understand. Like the drug companies and the pharmaceutical companies, if we play the right music for people, we don't need them, you know.
Yeah.
We can heal people with music. That's why my style is what we call holistic reggae.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love
holistic. Holistic
Yeah.
and healing. So it's holistic.
So you're, so you're still selecting records now with that sound system. Do you play your old, the old stuff, like those old records you got?
I play the old thing, I'm gonna play the new thing too.
Nice.
But because of my, I'd say no, my busy schedule.
Yeah.
Because we never stop mothering, we never stop grandmothering. I'm a grandmother of 12.
Wow.
So sometimes it's like I have to refuse a lot of offers and a lot of gigs. People want me to come and play, but I can't spread out the things so wide. Right. So we're putting it together that we can have a team to go and represent me when I can't do it. But remember the name, Cinder Block.
I'm not gonna forget that name. That's heavy.
Yeah.
You mentioned your family. Are there other members of your family that gravitate towards music? Like
presently, my daughter is an upcoming artist, and she is putting out a lot of music right now. Her name is Nakiba Amanie, and she's also putting out her album, which has a feature track with myself and her.
Nice.
A song called My Jamaica, where she's telling of her experiences of living in Jamaica, Queens. While I'm telling of my experiences coming from Kingston, Jamaica.
Wow. So
the song is called My Jamaica, and it's a wonderful song, and the video was done here in Jamaica too. So the Massive and Crew can get ready for that. I remember again, Nakiba Amanie.
Yeah. Nice.
Beautiful. Everybody go make sure to check that out.
Yes. I love it. I love how you see generations of Jamaican artists for example, Devin and myself are musicians, and we were fortunate to play music in a backing band with Mr. Elton Ellis.
Wow.
And then years later, I actually was in a band backing Christopher Ellis, his son.
Wow, that's deep.
So it's really cool because
That's deep.
I notice it more so in.
Can I tell you? I have a deep passion for so much of my bridging and my sistering, and I love all artists, but Alton Ellis has got to be one of my favorite artists out of Jamaica.
Yep. He was the, Roger and I, as you mentioned, we're lucky enough to back a lot of Jamaican artists from that era in the early 2000s, but Alton was the first, and we had a rehearsal planned, and we were nervous. Roger and I were nervous because we love this music so much, and Alton Ellis is like this mythical figure, and we didn't know what to expect. And when he showed up at rehearsal, he just
yeah, man, I'm just a cool man, just
so cool, and he just made us feel so. The music was great, and he could still sing. This was like 2006, and not only was the music so great, but just the way he really, you could tell he could kind of sense that we were feeling that way, and he really went out of his way to make us feel like, no, like you're a good band, like just let's have fun. And it was great. It was just like one of the most memorable experiences.
Wow.
Yeah, love
Real
Alton.
Godfather, real
Yeah,
Godfather.
oh, yeah.
And like I said, I knew him since I was a child, just seeing him across the street, and was really like a dream come true for me to grow up and doing music and performing on the same stage with Alton and doing shows with Alton.
Wow.
Quite an experience.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What year was it that when you? I just want to get an idea of when you actually went to Brooklyn. You were like 14 years old, around
1973.
there. 73. Because I'm thinking in terms of, okay, you're leaving the island. What year is it that you're leaving the island? And I'm like, wow, that's like such a good era of reggae music.
1973.
Right. And I'm like, ooh, and the music that was happening in 73, late 60s, early 70s. Like, that's what I love. That's what I'm all about. So
was like one of the hardest time to leave at that time. Right. The music was just,
I would imagine,
just booming, and the DJ style was just coming in stronger and stronger. Like I said, it was like, started out like with Big Youth, and then like with what's his name again? Crab Walking.
Oh, Prince Jazzbo.
Prince Jazzbo,
Yeah.
and
We got a chance to play with him too.
yeah, all those brethren that were coming out at that time. It was a different time,
Yeah.
a different time.
But it
different time.
It sounds like you brought reggae to New York, though. Really, I mean, because what can you describe what the reggae scene, if any, was like at that time when you got to New York? Because we think, especially in LA, now we think of, and since the 80s at least, we think about New York as being a place in America where, in general, roots reggae isn't as big as it is in other parts of the world. But we think of New York as being a hub where you can actually find good Jamaican music.
Mm-hmm.
But was that the case when you got to New York, or were you one of the first people really bringing it?
When I came to New York, the music was very, very scarce. And there were only like a lot of house parties. If you want to hear some reggae music, you have to know somebody that's keeping a party, and it's usually like a basement party.
Right.
If you hear music, if you hear reggae on the radio, you would run to the radio and turn it up real loud. There wasn't cars driving past. There wasn't cars driving around playing reggae.
Right.
There were people in New York like what's his name? Jeff Barnes, Carl Anthony, Gil Bailey, and stations like WWRL and WLIB. Very, 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 very minuscule reggae. It was like to think about then and to see what it is now is like, wow. He came a long way,
Definitely.
He came a long way.
Well,
yeah, man. In one of my songs, I said, how did I say that? Me come America as a teenager. From me born and sweet Jamaica, reggae music used to play, but it never popular. Like the other rest of music in that era. Yankee people used to laugh and tease me about ya. Say me come on a boat full of green banana. Then used to love the curry goat, the patty and the split. Husking up them face when they hear the music. Now the tables turn on and they mama do over it. It's a government check and them a think. Let them know. What we actually went through. You know, from then to now. And we had to face a lot of negative stereotypes and a lot of abuse and a lot of discrimination. Hey, you come from Jamaica, you banana boat, go back home on your banana boat. We don't want to hear boom boom music. And those same people now are like the biggest reggae lovers. So,
Exactly.
you know, we feel good for know that. So we live it out and we see it through. And we make a small contribution to our go to make it happen. People don't know the fight where we, as a people that migrated early in the 70s, had to go through to make certain things that are happening right now. Still happening.
So tell us about your earliest recordings. Am I correct in saying, you know, the Liberation for the African album is your first?
In actuality, it was released first.
Okay.
In 1983, yes, that album, Liberation for Africa, but really, Black Cinderella was the first album. I started to do that first, but it came out afterwards.
Gotcha.
And Liberation for Africa was done for a company called Serious Gold by a brother called Sir Charles Amlak, and he's passed away now. And I'm hearing a lot of people are like so badly wanting this record to buy, and hopefully things will straighten out from a, you know, listen now. The correct way to do things the right way.
Right.
So we're hoping that things will be straightened out, that we can put out the record so people can get it.
Yeah.
It's a great record. One of the songs that stuck out to me was "Black Woman" on the Full Up Rhythm. You know, that song is really, really. I mean, it's a great record. I know people when they think Sister Carol, it's a Black Cinderella album, but that's an awesome. I hope that happens. You know, the re-release people.
I'm looking
people
forward to be re-released as well.
I
came out 1983.
83.
And Black Cinderella came out 1984.
And the delivery.
On the Ja Life record label.
Ja Life, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a producer, Hyman Wright, right? Correct?
Yeah, he was the first person to record Sister Carol in 1981. My very first song was Jamaica, Little Africa on the B side, and Black Cinderella was on the A side.
Wow.
And then that was followed up with the album Black Cinderella, and then Ja Disciple on the Ja Life record label. And after that, I just went into some production on my own, did quite a few albums, and there's an album entitled Isis, the Original Woman, that came out 1999 on the Tough Gang record label in New York. We licensed the album to them. And before that one, we had one called Lyrically Potent that we produced. And we licensed it to Heartbeat Records, and it was nominated for the Grammys that same year.
Wow.
Lyrically Potent.
Jeez.
So it's a while we record the things then, because at that time we were going to so many different people trying to get record deals and trying to push ourselves out there. But we quickly found out that the best thing to do was to do our thing ourselves and to say what we want to say and to make that input that we want to put into the music.
Right.
And, you know, still doing that.
How important is it for you? How important is it for in general, you know, reggae music to have a message? I know for yourself, it's all over your music?
Well, you have to remember saying, this music is a fusion of African music. Music like Kumina, music like Nyabingi,
Mm-hmm.
Fused together. But what is important is that it's always remember it's a grassroots music. It's a people music. The people that created this music are grassroots people. And they created it from what was happening to them at the time and their environment and singing about it. So there must be a message, and people can identify with that same message way across Africa, Brazil, Japan, wherever. But it is the how you say it now, the vibration between the drum and the bass when it make that heartbeat sound connects with the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what language you speak, anywhere in the world, and it can beat like that, you're gonna feel it, gravitate to it, and it's gonna heal you as well.
Yeah.
So the message is important, but when the music real, acoustically, and culturally clean, it takes you to another level, a higher heights. It can open even chakras within the body that were never open before.
Right.
So the message is important.
And you mentioned a little while ago that you're a big Studio One fan, and we know that you have a Studio One tribute album you did with Easy Star Records, right?
Correct.
And that's we're good friends with the Easy Star guys, and I see Michael down here in the comments, Michael Goldwasser.
Yes, big up yourself, Michael.
Yes.
Respect.
But can you tell us about? I mean, so I haven't actually been able to hear that Studio One tribute album because it's out of print at the moment. But I've read about it and seen. I can't wait to hear it. But could you tell us a little bit about that record?
Well, as I told you before, I'm a Studio One baby.
Yeah.
And Mr. Dad and my dad are very close friends, and Mr. Dad used to give me a lot of music. And during my producing and recording years, I wanted to do like a tribute to Studio One. And the idea came to me, and I just asked my band at the time, which is the I Life Players, Brother Noel Alfonso in New York City, One Drop, Horace James on keys, Derek Barnett. A group came together and we just laid the tracks, and I was there with them singing along, and we laid the tracks, and after we laid the tracks, I went around and started asking some of my brethren and my sister to sing some song on the thing, and everybody was just so apprehensive and ready to just give me that love and support. Brother Dennis Brown, Johnny Osborne, Glenn Washington, Sugar Minot, Fred Locks, Sluggy Ranks, Roman Stewart, Pam Hall, Angie Angel. It was just Brother Freddie McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of the proudest things that I think I did within this music thing.
Nice.
By producing that album, and the love that I get from the bridging them, musician and artists. I remember Dennis Brown telling me, he said, "Sis, me I will give you a song, but make sure it get to the people." And I said, I will. So, even producing Dennis Brown was like, what the hell? Is this for real? There was several times Sugar Man that came to me and he said, "Calm down, sis, calm down. I know you're too happy, but calm down." But it was just like, living a dream, and it was just manifesting on such a high level. It brought me to tears at times.
Yeah.
Because I knew Dennis Brown when I was a child. Dennis Brown and I lived in the same community. I lived on Regent Street and he was living on Orange Street and North Street. So there were a couple of times when I used to see him come to Chakamola to perform. And he was always well dressed with a little bow tie.
Mm.
And when he started, it was like, wow. Long before we know about Michael Jackson, you know, Michael Jackson that.
Yeah,
You know.
right.
Definitely.
And then, you know, Dennis went on to become one of Jamaica's most favorite artists that everybody loved.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked him if he could give me some love on my project, and he said, yes, man. So, you know, really gratified for the manifestation that I could have done that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Great vibes, great vibes.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm picturing it. I can just imagine working with Dennis Brown like that, you know, and just
Right.
getting emotional.
It was a song, actually it was a song by Johnny Osborne called All I Have Is Love.
Yeah.
Great tune.
And Johnny Osborne did the original, and Dennis said, well, I love the song that I have. Because he heard the rhythm, so he just started to sing and just sing it. So when Johnny learned that Dennis Brown sing All I Have Is Love, Johnny said, but a my song, him can't sing it better than me. And Johnny did it too.
Nice.
And then later on, during the session, we kind of merged the voices together.
Okay.
And a lot of people
Wow.
thought that it was a duet that they did in studio together, but we merged the voices together. They actually didn't record it together.
Wow.
But it was one of, like I said, one of the greatest things that I've done production-wise that I'm really proud of. Really, really proud of.
Wow. We need you to produce a volume 2.
Yes, please.
You know, it sounds like a producer.
It's somewhat in the making, and then someone suggested me I must do that for Treasure Isle too. You know.
Yeah, do all the
okay.
studios.
Just taking the old rhythm from back then and bringing it out now, putting some new artists, new voices, new songs. You know, male artists, female artists, balance the vibes, and you know.
That would be crazy.
We just asked Easy Star if they were interested, and they put it out, and we were grateful. You know, we went out there, and you know, pretty soon we're getting ready to release those same songs on 7-inch 45. So
Nice.
the masses can look out for it. You know.
I need to hear that.
And you have, speaking of releasing music, we know you have a new record coming out, right? Pretty soon.
Yeah, I have a new album that's coming out on the 4th of September. Called Opportunity. This album is something that I'm really proud to bring to my fans and to the world at large, because this album was produced by Glen Adams of the Hippie Boy fame.
What?
And he passed away 10 years ago.
Right.
And we just had like the album just sitting there, you know, just wondering how or what to do until the opportunity came about 3 months ago for someone to put it out, you know, with us, and I'm really delighted for this opportunity to be coming out.
Wow.
Because this album is it's a great album. And it's an interesting album because it's like I was just telling you, or you can go back in the past and then come back to the future. And when you merge that vibes and that energy, it's quite interesting. The songs that are on this album are all major hit records that came out in the 60s, the 70s. There are 3 rhythms from Brother Lee Scratch Perry. the songs that Bob Marley sing on. Those songs were played also by Brother Glen Adams.
Right.
So he had the link to bring those rhythms to me,
Wow.
and yeah,
So it's those actual rhythms. It's not redos of those rhythms.
no,
Wow.
the exact.
Wow.
This is the authentic, original,
Crazy.
rhythm, no carbon copy.
What? That is crazy. Were they remixed, or was it an already mixed instrumental version?
No, they were just like you hear just what you hear back then.
Yeah.
Is what you hear now.
Wow.
It's more, I will say, it's more compressed and more high fidelity, and it is sounding like it was done back then.
Wow.
But we actually recorded this album 2007, 2008, somewhere around there.
I need to hear this.
Yeah, and then we have another set of rhythm tracks from brother Striker Lee.
Bunny
Lee.
Yes, his rhythms as well. That he also played on. Glen Adams played on those rhythms for Striker Lee, so he brought those rhythms to the table, and we just put in a mix and fix up a thing and record some of my old songs that never get the exposure that I wanted to get. Sing them back on this rhythm, and that it is quite an interesting project.
It sounds amazing.
Something that we can call a modern antique.
Yes.
And it was an opportunity that came to me, and I was just delighted to take it up, and he invited me into the studio. He said to me, "Sis," this is Glen Adams, he said to me, "Sis, I have a dream about Bob Marley last night." And I said, "What, Bob, do something for me now?" And him say, "Come in at the car." And him say, "So what, you don't want to come in at the car?" I say, "Yeah, I want to come in at the car." So one of the first rhythms he gave me was Soul Rebel.
Nice. Wow.
Bob Marley Soul Rebel.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after I got the rhythm, and I decided to put the clothes onto it, and it fit perfectly. Glen Adams was quite pleased, and he started to say, "Well, since you can't do one rhythm, man, we went on to do a couple more until we wind up with an album." And I didn't want him to pass away, and then years of me passed away, and this thing don't get to the people. So I'm glad for the opportunity that it is coming to the people at this time.
Yeah, I'm so happy it's going to be released. Is it going to be out on vinyl?
I'm told it will be. Also.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many people that are going to gravitate towards that album.
That already sounds like album of the year.
That concept alone. I mean, we know Glen.
Some things are just bigger than you, Some things are just way beyond you, and there's nothing like timing, because who would have thought we would have been doing this interview the way we're doing it now, virtually.
Right.
It's just that we're grateful and we're thankful for everything and everyone who's in and around us. Everybody's important to us because we see the Most High in everyone, So we give thanks. The Most High allowed this time for this album to come to the people here and now, and I'm pretty sure you guys gonna love it.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna love it too.
Yeah.
Because Roger is, both of us, but Roger especially is, big Glen Adams, hippie boys.
Well, yeah, Upsetters, hippie boys.
I'm telling you, he's such a special person, man. It's like recording that album with Glen Adams. It's like going to a college and taking a course, a history course. Every day, he would tell us stories about what happened back then.
Jeez, yeah.
With Glenn and Family Man and Carlton and Reggie the guitarist and all the people that were doing the music back then. It's like hearing like an inside thing directly from, not from the horse's mouth, but from Glen mouth straight. The history, Bob, and you know, it was an experience that I treasure.
Yeah. Was it easy to write for that album? I would imagine you have these classic rhythms, you know, and they have their own story to them, you know. Did you feel you had to do them some kind of justice?
Well, like I said, you can't but do the right thing with those rhythms, because those rhythms, they're big already without me.
Right.
You understand? So you can't do nothing for bring down the rhythm. You have to add to it and make it up.
Right.
You understand? So some of the songs, you might be familiar with some of them. Some of them you might hear them for the first time. Some of them, I can't even tell you how it come to me to do some of what I did. But one of the songs that I know I sat down and I thought about what I was doing intensively, and I wrote a song called Get Up, and that's on the Soul Rebel rhythm.
Nice, that's the one.
Very in your face type of revolutionary, not take no more talk, ready to take it to them kind of thing.
Nice.
You know, militant.
Yeah, that's the perfect rhythm for a song like that.
You know, it's Bob Marley rhythm, so you have to deal with it on an upper level, you know.
Can you tell us any of the other rhythms that are on it? You mentioned the producer like Striker Lee, but do you know the names of some of the other rhythms?
I am told that the very first reggae song ever to be recorded was a song called Bangara.
Oh yeah, Stranger Cole.
Yeah, and this was told to me by Glen Adams and also Bonnie Lee. That rhythm is on.
Nice.
Oh man.
On the album as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Womanawa Bangarang, that one.
Same one. Same one. Let me tell you something. I can only say, for something like that to happen to a girl like me, coming from where I'm coming from, the reggae arena is like a match made in heaven. Hands and glove, perfect. Because when I was growing up, these songs and these rhythms meant everything to me. And here comes this opportunity for me to actually add my voice to these rhythms. And then my brother transitioned. So I'm happy. Give thanks for the opportunity to get it to the people.
Right.
Yeah, it's a modern antique that you must have.
And it sounds like it's kind of almost the album you were always made to record, because you know you left Jamaica at 73, so you didn't, you know, by the time you start recording, you know, all that time the rest of the 70s you're not in Jamaica to be able to voice those rhythms, you know, so it's almost like it's giving you that opportunity that wasn't there in 1974 or 75 where.
But let me tell you something. When I left Jamaica 1973, I left Jamaica physically, but mentally and spiritually my state of mind was always Jamaica. So anywhere in the world me there, me function Jamaica. Like me have to have where me have to be, where me want to be. Yes, man, you come in for this, innit? Right? Me have to be me.
Yeah.
And me have to keep the indigenous part of our culture. You know what I mean? And it's important because it also comes out in the music. So you know, so well then, even though I've been away from Jamaica so long, it doesn't sound like that musically. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's true. Yeah. I was also in the process of recording another album entitled Reggae in My Blood. Excuse me.
No, it's okay.
Now I wish I had one.
Yeah, I know. Where's my coconut?
Instead, I have.
Yeah, I was in the process of recording an album entitled Reggae in My Blood, because a lot of people are troubled about people stealing reggae and taking away reggae. So I had to address the subject because no one can take away reggae from me. Reggae is in my DNA. And some people think DNA means that is not available. But DNA is really the deoxyribonucleic acid within the cells of our body. That's where reggae is to me. So no one can take away reggae from me. So that album is still being mixed and still, being worked on, but it gets stuck in a traffic a little bit. I can't get into why, but in the meantime, look forward to opportunity.
Well,
on September 4th.
Yeah, September 4th. Everyone make sure you go get Opportunity. Just based on this conversation, it sounds like it's going to be amazing. And we have Michael Goldwasser again here in the comments, and he's saying, he says, Roger, I'm not sure if Sis knows that you played on Time Out. So that's right. I wanted to bring that up, that you two are on a track together, because Roger is playing keys on, Roger plays organ on the whole Jason Mraz album that just came out that you are on. So you guys are bandmates already.
We've played together and we didn't.
Respect.
You did an amazing job, by the way. I mean, I think Jason and Michael, hats off to everyone involved, because it was a perfect marriage of art. And man, when I heard you were going to be on those songs, I was like, oh shoot. And then when I heard the song, it was another level of, this is perfect. So
it was quite an opportunity. It was one opportunity that came to me via Michael from Easy Star Records, and when it came to me, I was delighted. The very first time I heard the rhythm, I just felt like I fell in love with the rhythm right away, and the voice and the chords and the changes and the bridge. I just felt like, yes, I want to do something with this.
Nice.
And then I sat and burn a little thing, and then I approached it and it just came to me, and I'm really pleased and I'm thankful to be on the track with Jason Mraz. I love the sound, and I love the vibration, and I love the publicity that comes along with it, and it's just grateful. I'm humbled.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that I'm also a cannabis queen. I'm an advocate for marijuana, whether medical or otherwise. And when I heard about the topic, it was, like I said, match made in it. So I had to just neatly adorn it the way the rhythm came to me, catching all the curves and the corners. Just like and one inside of me.
That's it right there.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sorry. Oh, sorry, I'm not sorry. I guess it's time to take a time to take a time. Time around to take a time. Time to take a time out. I've been working overtime for way too long. I gave it everything I had till all emotion was gone, and now I'm hoping to long.
Yeah, that was good.
This song is probably one of the most played songs up here where we are right now in Ramble.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All the youths them love this song.
Nice. Oh, that's great. We had Jason on the show a few weeks ago, and he mentioned we talked for a while about what it was like for him to have you on that track. He was really, it was really a special thing for him that you were able to do that song.
It was special for me too.
Nice.
Gratified and thankful for the opportunity and the vibes and the energy and the love that the people have for it, for the song.
So you just mentioned
More than any time now. All of us need a time off.
Yep, that's true.
True
Well,
that.
we're all kind of getting one right now, right?
Right.
Whether we like it or not. You just mentioned that song's big and getting played around your area, and I wanted to ask about that. Like, what is what, like, where you're at right now in Jamaica? What is the modern kind of day-to-day reggae scene like? Because Roger and I know that right now there's just I mean, reggae's never stopped coming out of Jamaica, but like right now it seems like there's that some of the younger singers, Chronics and people like that really seem to have their pulse on something special. And yeah, I wanted to ask you about like what it's kind of like being there right now and what the music scene is like.
When I said that the song was popular here, I don't really mean like it's playing on the radio or anything like that as yet. It's just us and all who have access to hear it, and everybody have it, and everybody's playing it. Just like, but musically, what is happening right now in Jamaica is coming up on September 3rd is another political election. The JLP and the PMP and the JPP, and they're all going at it.
Right.
But what I see happening is a lot of artists are doing what you call dub plates for the politicians, and it's just like the most popular thing right now because the election is so close. The artists are doing dub plates for the politicians. So the politicians are like literally using the artists to promote themselves. And I don't know if financially it is good for them or what, but that right now that's all that's happening within the music. Even the radio station are playing dub plates that artists make the politicians.
Wow.
That's so like that's a concept that we wouldn't get over here with our I would love it if our presidential election was based around getting dub plates.
But it's kind of oh wait a second, no, it's kind of hypocritical, like, because the politicians for me do not provide a place or an arena for the music. They always adamant about shutting off the sound system, lock off the dance, just not supportive of the music the way they should. And then you turn to the artists to come and support you that didn't support the music.
Right.
Find it kind of really like hypocrisy,
Yeah,
but that's what's happening, and it's like huge. All the trucks and the cars are driving, and people are and the songs, and
And that's,
that's the vibe right here now in Jamaica.
And that's something, correct me if I'm wrong, but just from an outsider's perspective, that's something that's been happening in Jamaica since the early days of reggae in terms of politicians getting artists to voice songs that are...
Yeah, it's been happening for, like, ever since we were, like, young. They would try to get some artists to, campaign for them or to support their manifesto. But, like, what I see right now is, like, what you call, like, a dub plate war.
Wow.
Which politician are going to have the better song?
Wow.
So it's that, and it's it's quite heightened here. Like, I don't know if it's because the people are trapped in this COVID vibration, of which another reason why I feel like personally there shouldn't be an election at this time, because we are in the midst of this pandemic and still trying to figure out how to move forward. And they are also talking about school again, of which I really feel like it's not the right time to open the schools.
Right.
You
Right.
know? So, musically speaking, that's what I see happening right here in Jamaica. It's just politicians and the dub plate war. You know,
Yeah.
it's the order of the day right now.
That's crazy. That's such a trip to hear that. Like, yeah, it's funny to me. I would love to experience or to hear that. I'd love to hear some of these.
I'm pretty sure if you log on
Dub
to some of the news and the sites, you'll hear them.
Right,
Yeah, I
right.
could probably go find out about
Go
it.
check about that. That'd
Well,
be insane.
So I think we're it's a shame to have to wrap up. I think we're getting close to that time, but we want to. Can you please tell the people where they can go to get the new album Opportunity?
The new album will be available in all on our digital platforms, and also hard copy CD and vinyl. You can also log on to sistercarol.com. You know,
Nice.
if you can't pick it up somewhere, you can come to my site. I'll sell it to
Right.
you, or you know, all of them. You know them.
Yeah. Is it
Up to
is it
Spotify, whatever the name, and
Is
then I
it so-
sell the thing now.
is it something you're releasing independently?
No, not independently.
You have a label for it.
It's my label along with another label, but I don't want to mention it right.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Understood.
Respected.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Sister Carol, thank you so much for joining us. It was a real pleasure speaking to you, and just the vibe for us tonight was just really, really nice, and I hope you had a good time too, because we really enjoyed hearing all your stories and hearing about your the cinder block sound system with the healing sound. can't wait to check that as soon as COVID is over, and we get out, musicians can get out touring. I hope I get to, I hope I get to see the sound system. Maybe we need to come
Me
to
and Devin will
JA
be on a flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
You
gonna
know-
go down there.
Last year, I think last year summer it was. I don't know if you know about Carter Van Pelt's Reggae on the Boardwalk. Have you heard about that before?
No, I know the name Carter Van Pelt.
Reggae on the Boardwalk is when they bring out the sound system on the boardwalk in Coney Island in Brooklyn,
Oh, okay.
Wow.
and the massive really turnout to come hear music on the boardwalk, reggae music pumping. And so last year they had a day where they had all female selectors,
Nice.
and I was one of the selectors, and I got the chance to play. I was the last one to play. So after me drop a couple dub plate on them, everybody wanted to hear the sound. Everybody wanted to hear the sound. Everybody wanted to hear the sound, but pretty soon they'll be hearing the sound. As soon as things clear up, you'll be hearing the sound.
As soon as they clear up.
Get a vibes from mother culture, musically speaking. I play music of the past and I play music of now, but my specialty is music of the past.
That's beautiful.
Love that.
I want to
wait to
thank you guys for this opportunity as well, and I must applaud you for this platform, Reggae PodClash.
Yep.
Yes.
Anytime reggae can do thing and just explore and bring new people to the platform, it's a great thing.
Well,
You're doing a great job, and I'll be tuning in from
Please.
time to time.
please do. It's a dream come true for us. We
Yeah.
just, with the help of Rootfire, and Easy Star, big up all those guys. We've just gotten to speak to some of our favorite artists. Last week we had Val Douglas, the bass player, on the show. And-
Val Douglas is also my favorite bass player.
Man, he's wicked.
And
And
I've had the opportunity to tour so many places together. One of my
Nice.
favorite bass players.
it's great.
I
And
should
then-
say my favorite.
All right.
Nice.
Yes, we should have.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
All right,
great.
I'm just
guy.
thinking about. And then next week we've got Toots Hibbert joining us, and it's just a great honor to be speaking.
Another
to-
family member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll
Any-
be tuning in.
Anything you would like us to ask or say to Toots from Sister Carol?
Just keep keeping on,
Yes.
Yeah, because I admire his strength and his tenacity to still go at it even at this age. And I knew him since I was like real little, and I used to see him across the street too,
Right.
over there at Treasure Island,
Wow.
you know. So it's great to see him doing his thing still,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and just being here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I just say amidst all that's going on with the virus and all, I just implore people to be safe. Keep on wearing your mask wherever you are and sanitize as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep safe because we need everybody.
Yep.
And we lose too much people already that we shouldn't really lose, you know. So
Very
just one
true.
perfect love every time, and thank you all. Look forward for opportunity. And
Likewise.
look forward. All
Thank you
right.
so much.
That was Sister Carol. Thank you so much. And everyone, make sure you go pick up Opportunity September 4th.
Opportunity.
All
One
right.
perfect love. Yeah,
Yes.
I want to big up my team, you know.
Yes,
I
please.
want
Yes,
to big
big
up
up
my
your team.
team for preparing and getting it ready. Big up
Yes.
yourself, Michael. Big up yourself, Graham. Big up yourself, Dina, for always being there and making sure everything is on point. Big up yourself, Lisa, and everybody who make it happen. One perfect love again.
Yes.
Rastafari.
All right. Sister
Thank
Carol,
you.
everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Yes. That was
That
Sister
was-
Carol.
That was cool, man.
So
Like,
good.
We gotta have her back on when that album comes out with the Glen Adams. I gotta hear that album for real. It's
I know.
like,
I can't wait to hear that album.
how an album like that just kind of sits on the shelf is like, I'm like, what? That'd be insane just to hear that on some of those rhythms. And the Bunny Lee rhythms, I mean, he has. I mean, Bangarang? Are you kidding?
That's. I mean,
Bangarang.
you
Same.
know, as excited as I was to know that there was a new Sister Carol coming out, now I'm like 20 times as excited.
For sure.
Just because,
For
I mean,
sure.
that's, dude, you and I talk about this all the time, you know? It's like whether it's an artist, a modern artist, getting a band together to record old school style songs, or if it's, you know,
Right.
just what she's doing, which is the best way to do it, which is,
Get
I
the
mean,
OG rhythms.
you know, getting together with Glen Adams
Yeah.
and being like, you know what, here.
I kind of like how I got the impression that how she was saying that, you know, they were songs that he performed on. So maybe it's kind of like, all right, he's going down his list like, all right,
Right.
Bunny, I played on these songs, and
Yeah,
give me
yeah,
a
yeah.
copy, you know. Whoever owns the Lee Perry tunes or whatever, it's like, all right,
Can't
going
wait
down
to
this
hear it.
long list of songs he's played on, you know,
It's going to be so good.
cashing in.
All right. Well, Raj, as
Yes.
always, we would like to know
What I got
you've
going on? Well, I got this new 45 that I'm a part of. There's this group called the Night Owls, and you guys got to go check it out. It's on fspotrecords.com. There's sound samples, so you can go get hip to it. But it's a real all-star cast. And pre-order your copy because the last couple copies we've been releasing with F-Spot Records have just sold out quick. So go check that out. Devin,
Dan
how's
Ubik, right?
Yeah, Danny, I mean, geez, the list goes on and on. Blake, Dave, all the guys from the Lions, Jesse from Agrolites, Malik Moore, the guys from Hepcat, Alex Desire, insane posse. So it's crazy. Devin, how have the sessions been going? The songbook sessions, man.
Been going great, man. People are still, surprisingly, people still seem to. At least some people seem to still want to hear me sing every Tuesday. So, you know,
Are you kidding me?
my dog's sitting downstairs and my wife's sitting downstairs. Like, all right, am I gonna really sing?
Oh man,
Evilest Number again? But people are people are digging it, and it's been cool because I just get to sing all kinds of covers, and then
course.
people, you know, people take requests. I take requests. People have, so it's great. So every Tuesday you can tune in rootfire.net/TV and listen to me sing some tunes. Next week, Saturday, on the Reggae PodClash, we have the one and only Toots Hibbert joining us from Toots and
Yes.
the Maytals.
yes.
You heard right. That was not that's I didn't say Toots Gibbert or Foots Gibbert.
Foots Libert. Nope.
No, the Toots Hibbert, whose Sister Carol used to see across the street as a young person at Treasure Isle, will be joining us next week. So, you know, it's a special episode. Please, if you have some questions you'd like to ask Toots, you've always wanted to ask him. I mean, this may just be your opportunity. Put them in the comments, and we will be monitoring them and asking Toots whatever you want to know. It's going to be kind of a dream come true for us to talk to such a foundational man. You know, talk about foundation members of Jamaican music, you know.
Jeez.
I mean, they're from the ska days, one of the biggest artists of the ska days. And, you know, as Sister Carol mentioned, Bangarang, there's so much talk about like what is the first reggae song, and she was mentioning Bangarang by Stranger Cole, but without a doubt, the first time you saw the word reggae appearing in a song spelled R-E-G-G-A-Y was Do the Reggae by Toots and the Maytals. So Mr. Toots Hibbert will be with us next Saturday, and we encourage you all to be here as well. And in the meantime, you can check out the reggaepodclash.com, and you can email us at the reggaepodclash@gmail.com. Go check out the website to hear our upcoming tunes of the week and some other songs we put in a playlist just for people who are listening. People ask us all the time, well, how'd you hear about this song? How'd you hear about such and such an artist? So we know people are really seeking reggae music and want a place to start. So if that's you, go to the reggaepodclash.com and listen to the playlist. We refresh it every week, 10 new songs. And even if you're, super deep into reggae, you might be pleasantly surprised by some of the selections that Roger's bringing and that I'm bringing. So
got some good ones in there for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, check it out, people.
Cool, Raj. Well, next week is going to be a big one, so we got to get our sleep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed right now. I'll sleep for a week. I'll be all energized and ready for Toots. Shoot.
We want to really thank our guest today, Sister Carol.
Yes.
Just an amazing time talking to her. Please, everyone, go pick up the new Sister Carol album, Opportunity. Comes out September 4th with all old school Glen Adams riddims.
It's going to be good.
Yep. All right, Raj.
All right, Dev.
I'll see you next week, man.
Later days, everyone.